Okay, so to start with, I'm gonna zero my scale. I always use these little straight-sided containers, and I mix and proof everything right in this container. As you all know, your bulk proof starts as soon as you mix your starter in with your loaf. So it is right now about 8 o'clock in the morning, so we're gonna get this going. Okay, and so I start with 325 grams of water. Show you how quick this can be done. I did do a little bit of prep. I went ahead and zested the little cutie before which is basically a mandarin, before I started, just to save a little bit of time. Okay, I got my 325 water in there, and then, oops, wrong thing. I go in with 60 grams of honey. I only use honey in my loaves. I don't use any sugar in anything except for when I make cinnamon rolls and strawberry sticky rolls, and really that's it. I don't use any other type of sweetener except for honey, raw honey. And then, okay, so I do use an orange extract. It's a pure orange extract. I prefer that. I hope there's no disclaimers, but I use McCormick pure orange extract. I really like it. I like the flavor that it gives. It gives a really nice flavor of the orange. So I go in for this loaf. Or these 2 loaves rather. I go in with 8 grams. And this always makes a mess. The only thing I wish that they would do different is maybe design the bottle a little bit different, because it really does, it leaks down the side. So, okay. There's your orange extract. I give this a mix. I've got a little, I think it's a frothing whisk actually. I use this to mix my honey and my orange extract in with the water. I just like to do that. It kind of incorporates that honey, dissolves it into that water a little bit. It smells so good. I love that orange smell. Okay. That's good. Now I go in with my, let me use different spoil. Then I go in with my starter. For this one, and I think it's because of the acidity in the citrus, sometimes it takes it a little bit longer to bulk proof. So I always put in just a little bit extra starter. I usually go in with 100 grams on nearly everything. If I go over 25, it is what it is. If I go under 10, 15, it doesn't make that big a difference how much starter you actually use. Some people will say, oh, you have to have exact. I don't worry about that. So I'm going in with my starter, and I use the same container for my starter when I have to do several bakes. Here's my starter, nice and bubbly, nice and stringy. Okay. Gonna go in with my 125. And like I said, it's only because of the acid level in the orange zest and that I use that, because it has a tendency to want to take longer for the bulk ferment and rise, whatever you want to call it. Let's see here. 22. I'm going to call 122 okay, because I'm going to scrape off this. I have a few other loaves I'm going to make, so I try to conserve on the dishes that I have to do as much as I can. I'm only going to use this for starter, to scoop out my starter. Okay, get that out of the way. As you can see, I have another thing of starter here. I've got several loaves to make. Okay. I'll probably have to zero that scale out again. Or incorporate your starter in with that, and with your water, honey, orange extract, like so. Okay. And with the flour, okay, 500 grams of flour. Okay. And just for time's sake, I did pre-weigh my cranberries, my craisins actually. Perfect. Actually, 501, that's okay. I went ahead and here's my zest, my orange zest. I use about a tablespoon and a half of orange zest, 120 grams of craisins, dried cranberries. I'm going to add in my salt first. Now on the sweeter loaves, I don't omit salt, because if you omit salt in any loaf, your loaf is going to be inedible. It's horrible without salt. So always use some type of salt. You can reduce the amount or make it saltier if you like. I personally like the pink Himalayan salt because it's got a little bit more of an earthy taste, and it's not as pungent as like iodized salt. And I've heard things that iodized salt in sourdough can affect your bulk ferment. I think that's what they said. I use pink Himalayan salt for a lot of things, that and sea salt anyway, so I don't have a lot of iodized salt in my house. Anyway, so I'm going to go in. I only use about half of what I normally use, which is about 12 grams of salt. So I go in with right at around 6 grams of salt. Okay, I did mix in my my salt a little bit into the flour. Okay. All right. So I have my water, honey, orange extract, my starter flour. Now I'm gonna go ahead, and this is how I do almost every loaf. I mix in my inclusions right from the beginning. It's just, it mixes better, it gets well incorporated throughout the entire loaf or loaves, and it's just much better. It looks much better in your finished product. So I am going in with 120 grams of the dried cranberries, craisins, and then we will zero the scale just for curiosity's sake. I use about a tablespoon and a half of zest. I like to get every little piece. Okay, All right, then I'll just give it a stir with the spatula, whatever you want to call it. Start with. Wow, that smells so good. I love that orange. Oops. Minus 1/10 of a gram of flour that I just threw out of the bowl. Okay. I get this going. And then I just mixed it a little bit, just incorporated a small amount. My gloves. Don't be a hater with the whole glove thing. These are food grade. I love them. A lot messier, a lot less messy on your hands. You hardly have anything stick to them. Get off of that stuff off of there. Okay, then I just go in with my hands. Get that scale out of the way. Give it a mix. Get everything incorporated. Make sure there's no dry bits. And then get all down in those corners. Get all that flour mixed in. You will see that there's some flour, dry flour. For some reason it wants to collect on those cranberries a little bit. And my dog is having a fit again. It's just what he does. He rolls around on the floor and makes all kinds of noise. He's in the other room. He's not allowed in the kitchen. And he's trying to get my attention because he probably wants me to play or something. But he's a good boy. Okay, I just get that incorporated. Okay, and as you can see, this dough comes right off of these gloves. I love that. I like to get into it with my hands, and for my loaves, for my family, a lot of times I will go ahead and just mix it barehanded. Just because you can feel it a little bit better. You can make sure that you have all of those dry pieces mixed in. But if it's for customers, I'll always wear gloves. As you can see, it's all mixed together. All right. So, anyway. Okay, that was the mix for the cranberry orange sourdough. And I'll be back soon. I've got several more loaves to make, so I may come back on with another video. Okay, y'all have a great day.